Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, I'm wondering if I ever changed the intro, what would happen? Probably nothing good for me. In this one, we're gonna go through from top to bottom the story of Sierah from Delta. To the mighty year of 2016 we go. Location, Ohio. Funnily enough, there are no cornfields in this video. Okay, that's a lie. There's loads, actually. And on a warm July evening, Sierah was biking alongside one. But things got cold pretty quick, so let's crack on with it, shall we? So we're jetting off to the kind of ironically named Fulton County. It's home to roughly 42,000 people, and it's located at the tippity top of Ohio. And wow, that's probably the quickest I've ever run out of things to talk about. More like empty county, am I right? Nah, I'm sure it's great. I'll save the rest for the facts about Fulton video I'll never make. What's important is not what was in Fulton, but who. And out of the 42,000 people that live there, one was Sierah Joughin. Sierah was born in 1996 to Tom and Sheila. She was the first child in the family, doted upon by her parents. She would be followed by two brothers and two sisters, but Sierah would always be the number one. She was confident, loved traveling, and to laugh. She graduated from Evergreen High School in Fulton County, and from there, entered university, the big leagues. She was studying business at the University of Toledo, less than an hour from home, and wanted to, as a career, work in human resources. In the summer of 2016, she was getting ready for another year at university. She was about to enter her junior year, and she was going steady with a fella named Josh Kolasinski. They had been dating for a long time at this point. 7 years! What you imagine a small town high school relationship kind of thing to be. That summer, 20-year-old Sierah, she was interning at her uncle's business. Things were pretty chill. It was hot and Sierah was enjoying, making the most of it as you would before cracking the books once again. An especially hot day was Tuesday, the 19th of July. Right smack dab in the middle of a Midwestern summer. Sierah had recently bought a new bike at a garage sale. And at around 5 p.m. that Tuesday, she was planning on taking it out for a little spin. She was going to bike over to Josh's, about 7 miles away, and hang out for a while. She said to her mother, "I'll catch you on the flip side," and pedaled away. Sierah's mother, Sheila, she actually had an evening class that very day also, so she left the home after 5 p.m. And when she was returning home at about 9:30 p.m., she saw she was coming home to a Sierra-less house. This wasn't, though, anything. She was at her boyfriend's who lived a few miles away, and, it's the middle of the summer. But about an hour later, at 10:30 p.m., the boyfriend she thought she was with called asking where she was. She hadn't texted back or answered any of his calls since they, parted ways, which was about 4 hours ago. Josh told Sheila that he'd been trying to get in touch with Sierah for hours, and that they had gone out for a spin together before they parted ways at about 6:45 p.m. He had returned home, and she was doing the same. Or was to do the same, but obviously she never made it. These are quiet country roads. There was absolutely no reason for her not to have arrived home, and combined with no answer on the mobile phone, things became worrying. The first thought was, okay, we're gonna drive around these country roads, and we're probably gonna find her in a ditch somewhere, courtesy of a truck, farming equipment, whatever. That night, the family contacted the police and reported her missing. At close to midnight that night, as the officers were driving around those quiet roads, an officer saw something driving down County Road 6. He saw some corn that had been knocked down. Heading over to, have a go, he spotted something odd. A small fuse box, like maybe from a motorbike. Checking further around the area, he found 2 pairs of sunglasses. And then, catching the reflection of his flashlight, further in the cornfield, was Sierra's bike. This was not far from her home at all. Clearly she almost made it when something happened. There were bloodstains on the handlebars and on the seat. One of Sierra's socks was beside, and also a bloody screwdriver. They saw tracks as if from a motorbike. It looked like someone had tried to hide her bike in the field, and that's when the thoughts of kidnapping, abduction, they began to percolate. The searches, fanned out. Flyers printed, knocking on neighbors' doors, asking if they had seen anything, and that's when they got a lead. A farmer had been driving down that very same road, the crime scene road, County Road 6, and he'd been driving down that road after 7 p.m. when he saw something. It was a motorcycle helmet on the side of the road, so he grabbed it, lashed it into the back of the truck, and off he went. He handed it over, and there were more stains on it. Blood stains, but they also got fingerprints. It looked like a hard helmet, and it looked like it had been used as a weapon. Wouldn't fancy taking that to the face. Now at this point it became pretty obvious, pretty clear that someone who was involved in it was on a motorbike, right? And, well, guess what? Josh had a motorbike. In fact, the day Sierra went missing, he was on his motorbike and Sierra was on her bike. Sick. He, however, was quickly ruled out. His helmet accounted for. They searched his house, his bike, no evidence found. The search continued, but as the hours passed, the chances of finding Sierra alive diminished. The search was like trying to find a needle in a haystack, a Sierra in a cornfield, and so they needed to narrow down their list of suspects from the nothing they had. They drew up a list of convicted felons who lived in the area, and they were going to knock on their door. One was a guy named James D. Worley. He lived very close by with his mother. They rocked up, knock, 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 and considering what they were there for, trying to find a missing young woman, he's a bit of a prick.
Who are you? Yeah, we work on that violent crime task force. Okay. So.
And I'm with the state.
Okay. So you guys got some suspicions for something here. So you're gonna tell me that this is all under the guise of just checking every household, and you're not here for any particular reason.
There's a young lady that's.
I'm not out there killing chicks, dude. I don't have relationships. I mean, I'm in fact trying to get one started online a little bit right now. But, and she's been out here. And guess what? She went home alive.
Is there anybody in the house but your mother?
Just my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why we couldn't go in and look?
What part of the house do you want to look at?
We'd like to look through the whole house.
I haven't killed anybody yet. Get that straight.
Well, believe it or not, being cooperative was always good.
Yeah, right. I will. I'm doing it by like a psychopath. I can't get nothing shot you up.
Nah, I'm too quick for that. I don't think so. You're saying you killed before and you know.
I'm just saying, sir, and that's not cool to say.
He was defensive from the get-go, but he did let them look through his house, and I can smell his bedroom. They toured the gaff and then went out to the barnyards. One was like a garage that he worked on. Whoa, he worked on bikes of all things. Whoa, motorbikes. They keep coming up. I hope they asked where his helmet was. Gotta protect Noodle. Safety first. And then as they moseyed into another barn, James started sweating bullets.
Let's get out of here. It's hot, man. There's nothing in here. Come on, you got another section over here. Okay.
He was, freaking out, shitting himself. Wonder why. In that barn were a load of hay bales. And the police spotted marks on the floor like someone had swept up recently. Looked like he took better care of the barnyard than he did his own bedroom. The hay bales were moved, and under them was this little cage type thing. Inside, they found women's lingerie and that sort of stuff, which is already worrying when you look at this guy. James had an answer. Well, two, actually. First was, how'd that get there?
What's all the undergarments for? What's all the what?
The second was, it's a girlfriend's,
That's all girlfriend stuff. I don't have relationships.
All of the items of clothing were nearly new, apart from one bloody piece of underwear. And so James was taken in for further questioning.
A lot of the right stuff. Dude, that stuff's all been bought during the last year and a half. I have a business plan. That's gonna be walled off. This is gonna be a studio. It's porn. Let's make it for producer. I've never hurt anyone. I raped it. I want to find her alive. Dude, I do not have her stashed, hidden, buried, whatever it is you're thinking. I have done it, don't know, I have no answers. I'm just not the guy. I'm not gonna attack shit, but I've been around the block, but I didn't see any evidence whatsoever found.
James, he was going to be a big cat in the slap-a-ham industry. Out of his barn, in the middle of nowhere. That's a match made in a septic tank. He denied, having anything to do with whatever happened to Sierra. A full search of the Worley property was undertaken, and moving more hay bales, they found a sick little setup. A mattress was found in the barn, and it looked like he was setting up, something, alright. God love any woman who set foot in there. Then they found a board on the floor with holes cut in, and pulling it up, they found a freezer. It was empty inside, but it looked like nightmare fuel. To be honest, it was carpeted inside. There were carpets on the inside walls, blood on it. So nothing good happened in there. It also seemed to have been cleaned. There was a smell of bleach coming from it. Also found were, the usual. Zip ties, duct tape, ropes to bind, pepper spray. But what wasn't found was Sierra. Now, the reason Jimmy was on the police radar at all was due to prior convictions. James was 57 years old in 2016, and although born in Washington State, he grew up in Fulton County, and he actually attended the same school Sierra did, Evergreen High School. He worked odd jobs, farmer here, groundskeeper there, working at fairs, but he really got by selling the devil's lettuce. But what really did him in was something that happened back in July 1990. See, 26 years to the month before our story begins. Something eerily similar to what could have happened actually happened. On the 4th of July 1990, Robin Gardner, a 26-year-old woman, was riding down country roads in Fulton when all of a sudden a truck knocked her down into a ditch. Out popped James, with a screwdriver. He held it to her throat saying, get in or I'm gonna kill you. Fearing for her life, she got in, and as James was about to put the cuffs on her, she managed to get the door open and booked it. She flagged down a passing motorcyclist, right, and was like, here, listen, you gotta help me. This guy tried to kidnap me, he's gonna kill me. Then, James, Jimmy boy, he got out of his truck and was like, here, listen, lad. She's crazy, she's cuckoo. Don't listen to her. The police were called, and James was arrested. He was convicted on abduction charges and served 3 years of a 4 to 10 year sentence. He would later return to prison in 2000. This was for growing weed and having a gun while on disability. But he was out after 2 years for that one. It seems then he stayed pretty quiet for the next 14 years while Sierra grew, until 2016. Though when the police got a search warrant to search the, Worley property, House of Horrors, this quote came up. It was from James to his court-mandated therapist. It said he learned from each abduction he had done, and the next one he was going to bury. A witness saw a van driving at high speed in the area when Sierra disappeared. Plates linked to James. The helmet, it was his. His cell phone data showed he was in the area of the crime scene when Sierra went missing, and combined with the items found in the barn, he was arrested on abduction charges on the 22nd of July. All of this, with his previous history combined with everything they found, well, thoughts of him being a serial offender, perhaps even serial killer, came up. However, as they searched the shit out of James's shithole, they found nada. No sign of Sierra, no sign of any other possible victims. Not there, anyway, because on the 22nd of July, Sierra was found. A farmer discovered, a patch of dirt in his field a few miles from James's place, and he called the police. They dug, smelt that smell of decomposition, and there she was. She'd been hogtied, gagged, and was wearing a diaper. The gag in her mouth asphyxiating her. It didn't appear she had been sexually assaulted. James Worley was charged with murder, kidnapping, abduction, tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, amongst other indictments. He pled not guilty to everything.
Authorities searching an area around County Road 7 tragically found what we believe to be Sierra's remains.
The Fulton County Sheriff says authorities located the body in an area around County Road 7 Friday night.
Positive identification will be made through either fingerprints or DNA, but at this time, we strongly believe that this is Sierra. Sierra was a remarkable young lady with a contagious smile. She was a loving person who has touched many people in her life. We miss her, and we will always love her.
The trial began in March 2018. What happened, it's believed, is this. On the 19th of July, James, according to his search history, was watching porn all day, having a grand old time, and then he decided to go for a spin on his motorbike. As he was driving along, he saw Sierra on her bicycle just after she left Josh at about 6:45 p.m. He then drove around her ahead of her, got off his bike, and as she cycled past, he got the motorcycle helmet and he then dragged her into the corn, her bike too, and he tied her up. He then left her there and went to get his van. While she was tied up in the cornfield, he actually called his brother to ask for a lift back to his place. He said, his bike was fucked, hence the fuse box that was found. Evidently, when his brother arrived, he didn't see anything odd. So James then drove back to the cornfield in his van, put her in, and they went to the barn. Her DNA was found on the mattress, on underwear, on duct tape. James's DNA was there too. He physically assaulted her, gagged her with this dog toy which he inserted hard enough to break a tooth. This caused her to suffocate, and then he buried her 2 feet deep. It was impossible to say the time of death. He denied it all, said the stuff found, in the barn, that was for his porn studio. Yeah, right. And then the fact that his helmet that was found in a cornfield, his bike did actually break down there the day before, and he had just forgotten it there, But the fact that it was, the same place Sierra disappeared, coinky-dink. At trial, Robin Gardner, survivor from 1990, she testified. And the prosecution presented recordings from James's sister, who mentioned that he'd been suspected in 2, perhaps 3 other murders. One was involvement in the disappearance of 14-year-old Lori Ann Hill. She disappeared after leaving a Halloween party back in the 80s, her naked body found 4 days later.
Police are not commenting on whether or not Worley is a suspect in any of these murders.
In the end, James was found guilty, with the jury recommending the death penalty. At sentencing, James had this to say.
Hello, everyone. Since the onset of this thing, I have been instructed to remain silent and to say nothing, and that is good advice to just anyone who is in any kind of predicament with the law. The less you say, the better off you are. First and foremost, I want to say that myself, my family, everyone that I know is heartbroken for the Joughin family. Make no mistake. Now, the person who used my helmet, who found it after I lost it, I truly believe she was attacked, and then my big, goofy shows up with my body. He's got her subdued. I don't know where. I don't have those answers. He took that helmet, he left the palm print on the helmet. The DNA found under her fingernails, not my DNA. And during the 2-3 days he had Sierra, I believe she was what? Literally kept under subdued and kept under control. Don't ask me why she wasn't there. She was a beautiful girl, but she wasn't, and I'm glad.
Funnily enough, James's defense of saying, it wasn't me, I was set up. The real guy's still out there. But him saying, if I did do it, it would have been much worse. That didn't go over too well with the judge, the jury, anyone.
Wait just a moment.
The family isn't taking this well, I can understand. So bottom line is, there are things that point to me being innocent, even though I have been found guilty.
So then, unsurprisingly, the judge laid the smackdown on James.
The court therefore accepts the recommendation of the jury. The court orders that James D. Worley is hereby sentenced to death for the aggravated murder of Sierah Joughin. The court orders that the execution date of James D. Worley be set for June 3, 2019 to be carried out by the appropriate authorities. The execution date shall be subject to further order by a court of competent jurisdiction. Defendant James D. Worley shall be remanded to the appropriate Ohio prison institution to be held on death row pending his execution.
The judge upheld the death penalty recommendation, and he also got a combined 23 years for other charges. His execution date has been delayed twice, and in January 2021, his defense has started arguing he should get a new trial, that it wasn't fair. No judgment on that has come out, not yet anyway. Be surprised if he gets a new trial. As for Sierra, her memory was, and still is, honoured. With walks and runs in her memory, a scholarship was set up, as was Justice for Sierra, which provides safety training. And that just about wraps up this one. A very tragic case, for Sierra seemed like such a wonderful, wonderful person. And James, he did the exact same plan 26 years later after it failed the first time. Unfortunately, it didn't fail in 2016. He's one sick puppy. The Worley barn has been destroyed, though maybe something underneath remains. In August 2020, the FBI, along with the Sheriff's Office, began searching it again. What tipped them off, what they were hoping to find, who knows, but I imagine that they have a good idea.
They've been tight-lipped about the investigation, only that it involves Worley, and the FBI was trying to collect evidence that may possibly be there. The property used to belong to Worley, but was given to Sierah Joughin's mother in a civil settlement.
There could possibly be a lot more names behind James Worley than we thought. We'll just have to see what they see. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you taking the time. Here, go on. I'll see you as always real soon in the next one. Till then, please take care. I love you. Mike out.